You hear a lot these days about planting natives in your landscape and the benefits of doing that. But what do you do if your landscape doesn't allow for that? What if you only have a balcony or only have a small sunny spot where you can't plant anything? But native plants can be grown in containers. In this video, I'll talk about choosing appropriate plants, what kind of containers, how to plant, and how to water. Native plants in containers have three major needs: the right location, the right container, and the right soil. First, evaluate your location for its light. Is it full sun? Is it part shade? You're going to be selecting plants based on what the light situation is. The most common containers that you'll encounter and probably want to use are terracotta or ceramic. These have the advantage of coming in sizes and shapes that work well. The ceramic ones are decorative, and I really like having those in my garden with all the colors they come in. The drainage hole is essential in whichever pot that you use. What I would not recommend is metal or glass because they get hotter and retain the heat, burning the plant potentially. In your container, do you want 1, 2, or 3? I wouldn't recommend more than 3 plants per container. Honestly, I like having 1 plant per container because I can have watering needs assessed really well, and when you have multiple plants in the same container, you're going to be repotting more often. Sometimes you choose a plant to go into a particular container that you have. This tall terracotta planter is great for a trailing plant like this native strawberry plant. In the ground, native plants tend to be able to grow in most any kind of soil. They can be in hard clay, they can be in sandy soil, and anything in between. However, when you're planting them in containers, you must have soil that is lightweight and has the ability to hold in some moisture. This is a sticky monkey plant. It could go in either one of these pots. The terracotta one in this case is just a little bit small, and as I said before, decorative ceramic ones work well. So I'm going to show you how to plant in this pot. The soil can be added directly to the pot when it's dry, about halfway, or you can take some out, put it in a basin, and moisten it with water. Fill your pot about halfway to start with. Take your plant out of the pot. Shake off the dirt. Set the plant on the roots and see if it will be high enough. Eventually we'll be filling the container up to about 1 inch from the top. Once you get the soil to the right level, you're going to take your stick and just make sure that the roots have dirt around them and you're taking out big pockets of air that might have been trapped there. You can also add to the top of the plant, dress it up a little bit with some items like colored rocks, lava, or some pumice type stones. Putting these on helps retain a little bit of moisture and it looks pretty. The next step is to water the plant. You want to do it gently and thoroughly each time you water. This is the kind of drainage you want each time you water the plant. Native plants in containers require watering more often than if they were in the ground. You can buy a moisture meter, but you can also have one directly attached to you by using an index finger and poke it into the soil. Typically in the summer, you're going to want to check it at least every 3 days if it's in full sun. Go from there, you'll get to know your own plant. With containers, you'll need to repot your plants more often, at least every 2 years. This one has been in the pot for 2 years, and you can see that it is time to repot it. The roots are circling the bottom, and they're looking for more space. You can put it in the same pot with fresh soil after you've taken off some of these roots, or you can upsize it to a new pot. One issue I get questions about is fertilizing. I typically don't fertilize because I'm repotting every year or two and freshening the nutrients that way. But if you want to fertilize, make sure you do it with a balanced, slow release formula. A second question is about pruning. Typically, you don't need to prune these plants in containers. Make sure you deadhead them if they're flowering, and otherwise, don't prune them. I find growing native plants in containers to be a good challenge. Experiment and have fun.